Already, we're good to go again. A little bit late today. Probably gonna be an hour stream. It's just the way it is. We're gonna be doing a little bit of lore building. I think my resolution's not set up correctly, so we're gonna fix that real quick. And I need to figure out a better way of dealing with the chat. That's trying to get the multi-streaming working. Yeah, and we're not totally set up here. Let me increase my scaling so you guys can see. All right, cool. So we're going to be working on more on that system for the assets and things. Okay, let me get Social Blade working because I haven't been able to. Okay, so activate this. I'm hoping all this works. All right, so hopefully if all this works well, I should have all my chats open. And then we just need to refresh the main Social Blade window. And everything, wink wink, should just work TM. All right, hello everyone. Yeah, so I did some more work. In the asset system. Studio assets. So here we have my new asset manager that I'm working on. And I can sign in. And we have different assets that we're going to be able to tag. This is the idea. And I really need to get a dark mode for the, for the non-landing page. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. And I want to kind of go a bit further with it. Bringing up anything. So even though we're technically in game dev, we're making game dev tools to help us kind of prototype stuff a little bit more quickly. Yeah, so we're going to create a resource. And we're going to use kind of like, we're going to give them a class name. And this data will be an array from JSON. We'll give it a slug. Let me make sure my Twitch is not in the art category. Are we back in game dev or are we still in art? No, we're still in art. Okay, let me get back in the game dev. Oh no, what's that? Hey, Mungalo. Yes. Ah, it's not working. Why? Stupid social blade? What? You have one job. Hang on. Let's see. What's the? I think. Oh, I know what the issue is. When I raid someone, social blade pushes the window, the chat window, over to it pushes the chat window over to whoever I raided, and then obviously the yeah. So I actually need to stop the. I gotta remember to actually like kill the chats when I stop streaming. Meh. That's annoying. Yeah, so this should now be working. Yeah. Alright, just put something in chat again. Anybody? Anybody on any chat? It's so weird. Even that message, Mungalo, that you just posted, it's not even coming up on the message history. I don't know why it breaks. Why it be doing the things. Alright, so now we're back in there. So we have our resource. You're about to watch terrible PHP, but I have this idea of kind of creating this non-restrictive, you know, and I know, you know, it's a bad thing, you know, putting JSON in a SQL field, but there is a MySQL JSON type, you know, and I also, and I want the structure of the data to be dynamic. So I want to have like a versioning system where we have like some unique data maps to a Godot game resource. And I can kind of create different resources that match what they would be in the game. And the idea is just so we can actually bind descriptions and stuff like that to it. And whether this will work, I don't know. It's a prototype. I want to eventually convert it into C#. But I need something right now that's just going to do some specific things. And PHP is super easy and fast for me to you know, kind of work with. Can kind of bang out something. Even though it's like, I don't know, very PHP is weird, man. It's kind of therapeutic, but it's not like. I haven't seen written PHP in 15 years or so. Well, I mean, thankfully I write pretty clean, testable PHP. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the best at it, but I mean, you know, it's not bad. Yeah, you learn to appreciate a lot of things from C Sharp, coming from PHP. Like I really I wish it like I could use simplified return types and you know instead of like a you know like I don't have the joy of just doing like you know a return thing like there's a lot of things I really like about you know C Sharp. Look at this guy. How's it going, Pixius? I'm sorry that we're doing nonsense, but I need to be more organized, and this is how we get there by suffering through PHP. Like here's the idea that I want to solve, and I'll explain. So um, we have the monolithic asset manager, which is meant to kind of expand the scope of things. I want a wiki, and I want like a CS or kind of like a revision control system for assets or for like data, like just data and the representation of assets as data. So the idea of this thing is you sign into it. Now I added some model support, but this is very, you know, the idea is you go and you add an asset and you upload it. You just literally take the resource file, take the TSCN of an existing class. It doesn't know anything about it. It's going to parse it and figure out what type of class it is and set up the structure and serialize that data and like kind of build it into the resource as like a JSON structure. So it works like a NoSQL DB, even though it's in SQL. But the idea is simple. I want a design level wiki where I can go into assets and kind of catalog them, attach a model where if I want it to have a model, and be able to create and modify the properties of those resources, those instances of the resources on a backend that allows designers to create things. Yeah, 3 JavaScript. I kind of created a flat profile that works with a generic light, and I kind of set the scaling to be 1-to-1. I just want it to be, it's kind of weird because I'm actually doing it based on origin centering. And I'm going to keep it that way because I don't want it to be more complicated. I want to get the AABB. So just get the AABB of the model and just whatever the default, you know, double of the AABB on this axis, like, you know, 45, 45 or whatever. That'll be like the, you know, the default behavior. I don't even care if we can pan. I turned off panning, but just, you know, that's the idea. So I'm using the GLTF 2.0. I had a project that sort of had like a wonky origin rotations. Client didn't claim though, so whatever. Exactly. That's why I'm just doing shit in PHP. I don't care. Right? We could do it in anything. All that matters to me is that I end up with a tool that I can just create data that represents resources and have a designer, you know what I mean? Like me revere the designer, or other people on the project that want to help can go in and add game objects. Right, like they could all not have model. They could just be different versions of planets. Like, what are the planet names? What are the? If we go into Google Drive, right, like my Unforgiven space lore master. Let's go into. So I have a lot of this stuff like here, hacking gameplay with skills. This is kind of like prototypey stuff, right? Like scan. These are hacking levels. Hacking a terminal, hacking a comm link, looking up the target, right? Using the wake scanner, deploying a transponder, hacking a ship system, you know, spiking a terminal. Like, I love the idea of creating these little passive gameplay ideas of like, hey, you can spike a terminal like in Cowboy Bebop, and you'll make a little bit of whatever transaction happens on that terminal for a very short period of time if you can get away with it. So if you know there's a really good kind of set of transactions going ahead, you know, you could kind of like, you know, additively, I don't know, just kind of like skim off of the top of that. So I created these kind of skills, you know, and they're just very basic for a lot of the different gameplay loops. But I want to find a way from an asset management side to be able to go in. I wasn't looking for skills. Let me set. I think it's in lore. Let me go back. I think it is the lore project. Let's see. Systems, companies, star systems, master design file. So all of our star systems, all the reputation companies, what system they're in, this data, you know, needs to become, you know, like game data somehow. But I need people to be able to change them, right? Like I created a bunch of like interesting things. Like we have like some, you know, tables that I'm kind of pulling from, and then a way I can kind of visualize these systems, right? Like what's in Sirius, you know, what's, you know, I have a bunch of different test systems. So like a water system, random names, and some visualizer. Nothing too crazy here, but I don't want to. I want to create a system that allows me to go in and just create a whole bunch of factions, be able to write, just as a writer, write down ideas and attach them to assets. So like I create the resource that represents the planet. This is a planet. Putting this planet in Unforgiven space. We don't know what system it's tied to yet, but we know it depends on the system, so it must have somewhere. So we put it in the, you know, the original star system, right? Test system 1. But what's great is we can kind of change the structure of that as we evolve it. But I look at it as if like, hey, if I can create an asset and create a planet resource and then start filling it out, I'm now forced to, you know, figure out what the cost of that resource is. Like what's the planet color? What's the scope of the planet? Like what's the population? Like what, from a lore perspective, what's all the metadata that makes up that planet? And the second the asset exists, a lore team member or someone who could be working on lore can go in and write, right, and describe the history. Like if it's a beer, what's the brand of beer, right? And an artist could go into it and attach concept art to it. So they could upload images, right? So they have like, you know, 2D and 3D media. You have simultaneously, you have the definition of an asset or resource that needs to exist. That might be loosey-goosey, and it can evolve through some form of loose revision control system. You know what I mean? That can, you know, keep versioning of the data, and it can kind of organize things. It can kind of like from the top, from the data up, you can look at an asset and kind of give me a metric of how long the asset would take to create. Or like, let's say I started off and I want to build a planet. So I go into the system as an example, I create all the concepts. And then over time, we create all the different locations. Like we attach everything to it, like the whole hierarchy, right? The dependency tree of a planet. What are the outposts? What are the cities? What are all the things that now depend on this planet, right? All linked to it. And then for each of those things, like, you know, what prefabs need to be created. And then ideally, then as I'm moving through the project management cycle of creating this thing, once it's done, I have a time scale. Like I literally know from the time it was created to the time it was finished, the process, right? The full process, like art team, you know, design, 3D, 2D, lore, is kind of all branched off of this unified system, right? Which layers itself on top of the data that's in a build. And that's my idea, because then I could integrate it into systems. I could have an API link to Figma. I could be like, connect Figma to it and just like, I don't know, make a whole bunch of white box shit and then have that just be embedded into the thing, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be I just want to make something that I could use, or someone who has nothing to do with the project. I could give them an email address, right? They could log into a tool and have an extension for that, you know, that exists in Godot that they could log into. And then they could see in Godot like all of those assets and kind of pull them down if they needed to, but they don't need specific access to the whole project. They just need access to the resource manager, and they can kind of, you know, without needing a full build, they can bring down individual level assets or individual like models and things, work on them and kind of like push them back, right? And then behind the scenes, in the storage side of things, everything that is uploaded and vice versa would have a revision control that's running locally to itself that can kind of be keeping track of, get LFS for the larger stuff, and all the metadata itself, just standard Git. So it doesn't exist on top of anything extremely complex. And then we have, you know, a bunch of the, so a lot of stuff will exist in SQL right now, but I plan to try to find a way to create some type of like hybrid system. That's kind of the idea. But for now, it's just going to be a glorified wiki. But because I don't know what I need. Like, this is like kind of a weird, like, unlike the game, I don't really have like a concrete like what makes a good asset manager. I can only be like, hey, if I was working with people, what would those people need? And this is just, you know, not wasting time, but I'm attempting to create something that will hopefully work. So I love 3 JavaScript, and I use a lot of this stuff, you know, on Galog. So like, it's not like this is nothing that I'm unfamiliar with in any capacity, right? Like creating like outposts, and so if I can just use the same tools. The issue is I'm trying to make this generic. Like, I don't want to make, if I want to make something that visualizes the star systems for Unforgiven Space, it won't necessarily be a part of it. It would be an extension to the asset manager. You know what I mean? Because like, I want it to be very universal, and you know, like, so this is not meant to be like purposely built for Unforgiven Space. It's meant to be a way for anybody to be able to kind of, just add things and work on them. And will it work? I don't know. But that's pretty much the gist. And I had a what was I using before? It was a Markdown. Was it better Markdown parser? No, I had Parsedown. Parsedown's awesome. It was a Markdown. It was a really light, super light JavaScript. Terra MD. Feel like that's probably not good. Yeah. Oh, It's nonsense. Yeah, I guess it didn't. Yeah, I think I use editor.js as a markdown editor. I don't know, maybe not. Inline tools might help to turn out. I think it was. Yeah, where's the example? I don't care about the data. No, it wasn't editor.js either. Maybe it was, but why am I not seeing the playground? Link to a line editor for editors of JavaScript. Next generation block style free to use. Yeah, where's the editor? Yes. Oh, okay, okay. I don't know. It's kind of cool, but and it is block based, which I like, but kind of convoluted. Well, I'm curious. Like, what did I use in the other project? Was it Summer Note? I think Summer Note is old. Oh, it was Summer Note. See, I like Summer Note. I think Summer Note works fine. We still do. Not extremely complicated. You know? 1,000 kilobytes. Yeah, I think it is Summer Note that I was using open source examples. Unless they stopped working on it. It's old. But I mean, they're still... Yeah, they're still committing to it though. Yeah, this is another one. Oh, is this not? Yeah, this has become a whole thing. 1,000 edits per month. Right? Yeah, this was open source. What is your community license? Yeah, I think I was using TinyMC under their site. What's that? Mormons knocking on my door 8 p.m. I hope Unforgiven Space doesn't have Mormons. Maybe we have space version of them. You know, having in what do you call it? Starfield. I think in Starfield they actually have like a group like that just kind of flies around, trying to like save you or something. Oh, okay, okay. So there is like the community version. Lots of forks. Yeah, so the latest version was licensed under MIT, which permits free use for everyone, but its latest version of 7 is under GPL. Cool. No releases. Guess we just grab the code. Why do they have so? Why is there so much JavaScript in for a Markdown editor? Collect 20 Jesus cards for a free ship. Yeah, there should just be one min file that we can use with the resources. Must be build scripts. What are these? Oh, color picker. Oh, there's okay, they're add-ons. No one needs add-ons. It's been so long since what's Prism? Prism PHP. Oh, is this a? Oh, it's a markup templater. Yeah, we don't really need to be editing code though. Cool. Prism C, Prism C. Okay, okay, cool. So it's like Prism. We can just. Okay, cool. It is a syntax highlighter. No, that could be awesome, actually. It's been so long since I did any web dev stuff, man. That's why I want to do it, just to kind of, I don't know, unrust myself. I'm waiting for the 30th. In 4 more days, we're going back to Fiverr, and we're gonna get the other mail. I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna get the. I get someone to redo the armature on the mail. Because it's literally like $20 for them to do it, and then it'll be done and like fully like set up, you know, for in my blend file. So I don't need to worry about the retargeting going funky, because right now it's still like when I did the female, I ended up manually having to go in the blender and actually readjusting everything, you know, like perfectly, and to kind of get everything working. And I'm like, oh, that was a lot of work. And you know, so on the 30th, I'm just gonna go, and I got someone who already did a bunch of work. Previously, they're gonna go and fix up. I'm gonna get them to do the the male characters, so we can get them in the main build. And they're also gonna do the 2 sets of NPCs. So the male female NPC sets and all of their clothing, you know, because it's just, you know, weight, just making sure that the armature modifiers are, when adjusted, are fully moved over for those meshes for their weights. And so then hopefully then after the 30th, I'll have kind of like outsourced the triplanar water shader that takes the models or the planet's origin as the basis at which the like the normal offsets and stuff are done. Like I want to make sure the shader works without having to deal with the world, the global world position. So that way, when the water planet is 60 million meters away, where triplanar shaders, which usually take world position into consideration, where they would be kind of funky and weird. I want this one to work because it'd be no different. Like where the planet is doesn't matter. You know what I mean? As far as how things look, it's just going to be where it is, and then I can just feed it, like a directional light, like kind of value and a whatever, and it should all just do its thing. So that's what I want to do. I want to get the I want to get a water shader working well in a spherical fashion, where we're kind of just offsetting, instead of like UV up like normal water shaders, we're doing normal. So that'll be cool. That's my because the faster, as soon as I get water working on the planets, the second the sooner I can kind of go back in and kind of like really start detailing the water prefabs and getting them like kind of in the main system. So that's my hope, is that in August, so by the 13th of September, then we'll have both male females, like with basic character customization options. So like the Patreon build for the 15th would be like the hope that this build will have NPCs that are not gray box. And 2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks, yeah, because it's not like I'm only, remember, I just set it up, so I just literally swap out the character model, right? Like it's all designed that once I have the character rigged, I just bring them in, and they have an animator and animation tree, and using the same female animations or the same male and female animations. So that's like a hope, is that we can get the and then during like the 15th to the 22nd, to start getting the planet gray box models in the game, and then by the 30th, for the like have the planet as an option, and kind of like hit the next 3 months, like this sprint of the next 3 months of me being back to work, will be like kind of taking 4 planets and kind of using them as the test bed stations, and then while this is happening, I'm still going to be doing adding more of the asset stuff, so figuring out like what the factions are, and like more lore building, and and trying to make a lot of the assets look good, play around with it. I was playing what was it, droid, we were playing Starbase earlier, and looking at like the fall of Starbase, I guess, but there were some wonderful things on the graphic side. Like I never realized how great like some of the, what do we call it? It's not like voxel based, but the it's a support structure. Like having, like they do way too much of it, but in Starbase there's a load of thrusts everywhere to scale, that they're amazing at selling scale. And I thought, it'd be really nice to build a system that uses lotted mesh instance 3Ds or multi-mesh instances to flesh out the volume of stations, So on the exterior, anywhere like underneath the struts and kind of like connecting all the pieces, use multi-mesh instances. Like they're the main bounding areas would have colliders on them to stop you from banging into them or whatever. But then inside those colliders, just having like utilizing GPU meshes to really kind of like bring detail to the stations, and this would bring like hyper detail because it actually is great. Like I really like Starbase has got to be like super cheap now, but I didn't like the voxels, like the total voxel systems of Starbase, but the way the planets, not the voxelization of the planets, but the little details. Space Mormons, like AKA, yeah, like Scientology. I don't like this, right? Like I'm not a fan of like some of the voxelization, but there's certain things they do with the exterior prefabs that I really like a lot. Like hate this, like not like right, but this like this structure at a distance. Let me like just use right like this structure system here. All of this at a distance looks great. Probably a rat. I like rats. I haven't had pet rats in a very long time, but I like them. Lately, obviously, the cats have been my main love, but I'd say panther. Like in the animal kingdom, it will be a panther. Will be my favorite animal. You purchase a Patreon was completed. That's all you needed. Have a good stream. How's it going, trash? But yeah, this I like. I like this detail, and there's so little cost if I'm not going to worry too much about it. But yeah, the building. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I think they did wrong, but there's a lot of things they did right. I hate their UI system. It's very non-immersion. Like they have this wonderful planets, but yeah, like it's capable of doing so much and rendering so much. But I wish they had humanoids, and that they had more like artistically crafted chip modules. But hey, we're making our own game, so I'm not going to complain about it. But this, I do love how cool the bases look at a distance, even without modding. It sells the sense of scale so well, so well. Stories of Mini Panther, yep, that's true. Yeah, their voxel system is so good for like damage. Yeah, this game is now mixed completely. Mixed. How many people played Starbase? All-time peak 10,000 people. And what was Starbase's cost of release? It's dirt cheap now. That's so funny to see the game be like $13. And it's still early access. Wow, that's a rough spot to be in. Fiscally, you need servers to be running. Yeah, I like the Trine series. I think I played Trine 3. Still not bad. $40 Canadian. Yeah, but I want to make like a multi-mesh instance version. What's Starfield's eye look like? Yeah, not a lot of support structure. I figured how we can also link it out. Right. It's old. Second UVs are often used for ambient occlusion or emission for baked lights. If we could use like UV2 and like bake out individual prefab lights, I'd like to do like little stuff like, so I can find it. Like see these, like, you know, a station is only ever going to be outside. So a lot of these type of pot lights, you know, should really just be baked. Hey, Dakota. All right, so I'd like to eventually figure out a good workflow for like baking out a lot of these little static, like little rim lights and like little, you know, lights that are like not really going to be, you know, inside a station. Like they're not going to be real time, and they wouldn't need to be real time. Like like nothing will be blocking it, you know. So it can be baked statically into the light maps. So if we have a light map for global illumination and it's set on start, how stable is that? Yeah, if we bake it with indirect lighting only, the direct light is still real time, allowing for subtle changes. The STF shot can support open large worlds without any need for baking. First of all, before Lightmare can do anything, the objects to be baked need a UV layer 2 and a texture size. Which makes sense, but I could just like have my individual lights that I want to kind of apply that to be kind of as a part of the model. So their whole surface would be like a would be like a part of that one asset in the case of what I would want to do. So having them unwrapped on UV2 wouldn't be too complicated. Static light maps. When unwrapping on import, you can adjust the texture size using Mesh Light Map Pixel option. Lower results resort to more detailed light maps, possibly resulting in higher visual quality at the cost of a longer bake time on larger file map sizes. Default 0.2. Suited for small, medium scenes, but you want to increase it. So the issue with that though is when spawning them in, you know, like when creating them, if they have to bake their lighting immediately on a station, it'll slow things down. But I wonder if it can be baked into the asset, like kind of permanently. And we should be able, yeah, so to begin a bake process, click bake light maps on top of the 3D viewport when selecting the light map GI node. This can take a second, minutes, or hours. Baking light maps is a process, blah, blah, blah. Lighting will not be source. Environment lighting will not be source. Purely for indoor scenes, so light environment lighting. Not a bad option, even if doing exterior station lighting though, because you don't want to have, you know, rotation of the directional light affecting it. Use textures for bounce. Since baking a light rays relies on ray tracing, there will always be visible noise in the raw baked light map. Noise is especially visible in areas that are difficult to reach by bounce light, such as indoor areas with small openings. Unlike JNLN or YDN uses machine learning approach for demodeling. Manual in addition. Okay, so we can still add light probes in the more classical sense. So the light data property contains light map after baking. Textures are always saved to disk, but also contains the capture data for dynamic options, which can be heavy. If you're using a scene in TCSN format, you should save this resource as a binary LB bake file to avoid bloating the TCN's file. Okay, they gotcha. With binary data encoded as base 64. The generated EXR file can be viewed and even edited using image editor to perform post-processing if needed. However, keep in mind that changes to an EXR file will be lost from the baking lightnet. Yeah, gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I'm actually curious. What do I use? I have an article system. Yeah, like what editor is this? Oh, simple MDE. Yes. Yeah, I love this one. Simple, embeddable, beautiful, markdown editor. Right. So you can actually set it up to be preview only. Yeah, because it doesn't. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think I will use simple MDE. Wow, size hasn't been updated in a while. All the tools I used to use, man, when I was really active, they're kind of like just, I don't know. Right, there's a PR here from 8 years ago. I mean, I guess if it still works. Yeah, I guess it was never. Or they moved on to something else. Of course they did. Cool. No releases, but well, I'll grab these from the ceiling. Let's go back to pick up before we go. Let's go to monolithic and create a new list called asset manager. No, just this one. There's a. I hate that this layout option shows empty fields. Yeah. We all ticks, not lore. Not notes either. Descriptors. Lost. Scene parser is about supporting for this week. In 3D. So what to do? So 3D prefab. And of the action ability. I also want to work on concept of an asteroid base. So just a gray box asteroid base for the next kind of like Blender screen. That'd be cool. I think that's going to be it. Unfortunately, the stream is going to be slow tonight. It's almost 11, so tomorrow I'll be streaming a bit earlier. But tonight I'm just trying to get a grasp of what we want to work on. Yeah, so we'll use the same one. Yeah, that I was using for articles because it's simple. We'll just add the same block system that I was using for the article code. So I'll just steal this article system straight from my other project and just stick it in there so I can actually kind of like add blocks to it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there, and we'll be back tomorrow to actually like be on a bit earlier and you know, dive back into the art. And there's not much to show. The only thing I've really been working on is cleaning up the first-person controller. There's a few things I want to get working this week as well. There's a bug, not a bug, just in EVA doesn't feel good. When you're like at the edge, right? Hello? Yeah, when we're kind of in 0G and we're kind of looking up and down, this needs to be a little bit smoother. Like it needs a dead zone, we got a stronger dead zone. So the further up we're looking, like we kind of max out at a speed, right? And I want that to be more limited. So it's, you know, there's a lot more dead zone. So you don't start moving until you're kind of like already looking up past like 45. So you're more stable. Like there's time for the rigid body to kind of like stabilize yourself while you're still looking around. Then as you look past the threshold, then you'll start slowly moving towards it. So the angle, like it needs to be not just like linear, it needs to be kind of quadratic. So like the further up you're looking, that, you know, slight increase of the ability to kind of spin around kind of comes in play. So then we're, you know, because there's a little stage where we're still kind of moving, and that'll get rid of that. And we can still look around in 0G now, a lot better, without actually having the character be moving. So I'd like to get that working a little bit better. That's kind of because we can have free look everywhere, and I think the free look everywhere looks good. I can like be running, looking over my shoulder. I can interact with, you know, like the different buildings and actually look around and see what's around me, which is great. Same with the ship, like getting in the ship and actually looking around is cool. Hopping out, like all of this now works. You're actually in there this time, so you can actually like go around the planet now and get out naturally. Right, that's great. But that's my, but right now I want to get to the 30th and get all the rest of the characters in. I kind of really want to get this vertical slice moving. And kind of like start showcasing like what the game can look like. Right, so now I can actually look around, which is great because now we know what I want to do is while I'm holding Alt to look around. Obviously, I need to disable the VJoy, so I do need to have like an event on the input system for the VJoy. But I also want you to have a zoom level, so while we're looking around, there's a certain level of mouse in and mouse out. It's like actually kind of slowly affecting me right now, but I don't have it set up correctly. You can see it's kind of wiggling. You know, right? I want you to be able to kind of like zoom in a little tiny bit while you're holding Alt. So there's still a reason to kind of use it, even when you're kind of, you know, when you're looking and kind of getting a feel for something. And same thing for looking around the cockpit, being able to hold Alt and zoom in and be able to interact with the buttons a little bit more effectively in the cockpit, you know, for like simulation and just for kind of making quick adjustments. And then when I get this way, when I get the Toby SDK fully integrated, I'll already have all my, you know, my systems in place where I can bind the lean in and lean out to that virtual access of zoom and camera FOV, as well as adjusting, you know, the head look. So like eye tracking and head tracking and, you know, zoom with either track IR or Toby, you know, should just be easy because it works for the character independently. Doesn't care about the ship. You're always like, you know, just the camera, like one main camera system. So those controls will be directly affecting just the camera and the camera free look. Oh, ship gravity. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, we need to actually fix that. Make sure when we're entering, yeah, the hangar gravity needs to be defined. All right, I'm gonna end it there, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll go find some of the raid.